Hi, everybody. It's your best friend, Sarah. And I did just look in the mirror and I realized I'm wearing, like, if you're listening at home, I'm wearing a button-down collared shirt with a tie and a vest. And I really look like I'm going for Halloween as a female comedian from 1980. But I'm owning it. I like it. What comes first, being a female comedian or wanting to wear vests and menswear? I don't know, but this is what is. So Time magazine wrote a piece about the fact that Jewish actresses never seem to score roles as Jewish characters. And they quoted me from this podcast a lot. And look, I think acting is acting, but when it's never or always, I think it's something to look at and maybe point to. So I'm going to do that again. And I think the Time article came out and a few other outlets wrote articles about it, really kind of off of the news that Catherine Hahn has been cast in this limited series of about the life of Joan Rivers. And Catherine Hahn is cast to play Joan Rivers. And look, Catherine Hahn did absolutely nothing wrong. She's a brilliant actor, and she's going to be amazing. She'll be great as Joan. And singularly, I have zero problem with it. But there's this long tradition of non-Jews playing Jews, and not just playing people who happen to be Jewish, but people whose Jewishness is their whole being. One could argue, for instance, that a Gentile playing Joan Rivers correctly would be doing what is actually called Jewface. Jewface, doesn't feel good to say, is defined as when a non-Jew portrays a Jew with the Jewishness front and center, often with makeup or changing of features, big fake nose, all the New Yorkie or Yiddishy inflection. And in a time when the importance of representation is seen as so essential and so front and center, why does ours constantly get breached, even today, in the thick of it? Because as David Baddiel points out, Jews don't count. I mean, what do you hear all the time? Jews run Hollywood. Jews are rich. Jews are powerful. Are just a few examples of perpetuated anti-Semitic tropes that renders people very righteously unsympathetic towards Jews. And I wish they would realize that that is by design. And also, let me just say, I am not consistent in this argument at all. I'm just talking here. I don't have an answer, you know. I loved Valerie Harper as Rhoda. You can't take that away from me. I'm grateful to her and her performance and having that character be so popular. Not Jewish. And all these women, from all these things I've listed and will list and you can look up, are brilliant actors and they're not doing anything wrong. But the pattern in film is just undeniable. And the pattern is, if the Jewish woman character is courageous or deserves love, she is never played by a Jew, ever. Felicity Jones was RBG, Rachel Brosnahan as Maisel, all the Pfefferman siblings in Transparent, Margot Martindale as Bella Abzug, Tracy Ullman as Betty Friedan, and on and on and on and on and on. I think Rachel McAdams in Disobedience. It's really is endless, and none of these actresses are doing anything wrong, but collectively, it's fucked up a little bit. TV's had good moments, you know. I mean, you could always say that, like with auteurs, like Rachel Bloom and Ilana Glazer and Abby Jacobson. And, they all started making content, writing and producing it and acting in it online, and it became undeniable and they got their shots. Or through stand-up, there's Schumer and Handler and even myself who've all gotten shows through doing stand-up and stuff. This is great. All these people, this gaggle of Jewesses, they did the writing and the producing, and they got to be on cable TV comedy shows. Slightly different. Comedy's always had some room for Jews, Seinfeld, obviously. But though the other three characters were based on Jews, NBC would not have it. Paul Reiser, Mad About You, great. But his wife can't also be Jewish. That's too much. Needs to be offset. I'm not proud of this at all, but I was fired from a movie not long ago where I was going to play this very Jewy character, but a wonderful character. And I got fired because the producers, when they went to maybe they were going to put out a press release, they saw a still shot of me in blackface from when I was in blackface on the Sarah Silverman program in an episode about that. It was literally an episode about race and racism and ignorance. I was the ignorant one. And also I was the ignorant one in life. Anyway, so they replaced me with a non-Jewish actress. And, just watching her be like, "Goy vey, I'm plotting over here," a.k.a. Jewface, felt, I don't want to say ironic. It was ironically fitting, maybe? I don't know. But, yeah, I guess it showed me, watching a Gentile actor portraying a Jewy Jew is just, feels embarrassing and cringy. And if you're Jewish, if you're not Jewish, you won't notice at all. Whoever's rolling their eyes at me talking about this right now, you're not Jewish. All right, maybe you're saying now, but Sarah, Jewish is a religion. Do you have to be Christian to play a Christian now? No, I would say no, because we're not talking about Jewishness as a religion. It's also a culture and an ethnicity and a race. For instance, I am totally godless, but I am very Jewish. And look, I think acting is acting, and I get that all this identity politics is annoying. Is that what I'm talking about? Identity politics? Is that right? I think that's what I mean. And look, I love watching an actor play a character that is wildly different than who they really are. That's the magic, But right now, representation fucking matters. So it has to also finally matter for Jews as well, especially Jewish women. And by the way, I'm a fucking hypocrite because in The Bedwetter, the musical that's coming out this spring based on my book, the woman playing my mother in 1980, Stephanie J. Block, who is a fucking genius, and I couldn't feel luckier about it. But she is not Jewish. I thought that she was, because she won a Tony for Falsettos, which is a four-person cast, all Jews, about, very much with Jewishness front and center. And it wasn't until I read David Baddiel's book, Jews Don't Count, when I read the story about, they went to the West End to put on the show. No one made a peep here about it. And then they went to the West End. And the cast is amazing cast. They're all people I'm a super fan of. But this is the case, And it wasn't until they went to the West End in England that Jewish Brits wrote an open letter saying, this is fucked up. This is about Jewishness. It's a four-person show that literally has a song in it called Four Jews in a Room. And none of those four people are Jews. Not even the director was a Jew. And they wrote an open letter about it. And I guess the production or the producers or the theater or some entity responded. And, they were just like, well, we don't cast, by religion or gender or age or race because that would be inappropriate. And the casting process was free from any bias or discrimination. And I just think that would not be the answer if it wasn't a Jew situation. If it was any other minority, they would not respond that way. Come on. Tell me that would fly with any other minority. No way. But I am psyched about Stephanie. We feel very, very blessed to have her on the show, and she's going to make a great Jew, especially as my mom, who was not very Jewy, to be honest. When people auditioned to play her, they all did like these New York, Brooklyn Jewish affectations. I'm like, I'm from New Hampshire. My mom was from Connecticut. She says like when and where. I'm just noticing here, I don't even know how to fix this or other than just, gently pointing it out when I see it. That's all I'm doing. I don't know the solution other than the final solution, which, would at least make this Jewish problem go away. I can say that I'm Jewish. I can make that joke. Get it? You may be like, but Sarah, Jews run Hollywood. And I would say that's a bigoted stereotype. But yeah, sure, there is truth to it in terms of they don't run it per se, but they invented it. The original studios were invented by Eastern European Jewish immigrants that came here and were not allowed to participate in other jobs. They were not allowed in most other industries. And of course, there are many Jews behind the camera, especially writers and producers. But I think there's a shame and a self-hatred there, Like Neil Simon is constantly quoted by executives as saying, write Yiddish, cast British, as if that isn't at all shitty. An actual poem about not wanting to see Jews reflected in art. Ha 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 ha. At least not Jewish characters, maybe, but not portrayed by actual Jews. That's too much. Too often, I think, Jewish writers don't want to see themselves reflected in art, not the way they see themselves. They want an ideal instead, saying their words and representing their selves back at them through like crystal blue eyes. Anyway, I don't know. Are there worse things I could be kvetching about? Yes, of course. But here we are. So I saw that Time magazine did an article. It was pretty soft, to be honest, but I appreciated it kind of. And so I retweeted it, and I was just looking at, it's not crazy, but I was just looking at some of the comments underneath. Here's one from Diamond Dog. Who are you blaming? The Jewish producers? I guess. It's kind of a common assumption. Here's one, Joe and Sandy. Should we hire only actors who are criminals to play criminals? Murderers to play murderers? I mean, that just kind of sounds very like, what's next? Making it legal to marry your dog argument? Like from Marriage Equality? Are you going to marry our dog next? All right. Oh, this guy, Eric, wrote, just having the time and leisure to obsess over something like this proves that life is pretty good for you, LOL. Well, and I had to click on Eric to see what he writes. And like one of the first things was, why do I have to listen to ads for podcasts on Spotify when I pay $9.99 a month? Much more important than Jewish identity. Although that is a good point. I mean, I thought if you paid $10 a month, you don't have ads. He also mentions that he loves Uncrustables.
Here's some ads.
Wait. Sometimes I can get a bit rough on my hair. I may skip a wash or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 and rely a little bit too much on dry shampoo, but I am able to combat that neglect with clarifying detox shampoo from Ouai. This shit's real. I use Ouai's detox shampoo. My hair and scalp have never felt so clean. We have hard water in LA, and this really helps remove the buildup from it. You just need to use the Ouai Detox Shampoo once a week to neutralize product buildup, oil, dirt, and hard water from your hair and scalp without stripping away moisture. A combination of apple cider vinegar and keratin exfoliates and balances your scalp, plus smooths frizz and creates a lustrous shine. If you're thinking, what, apple cider vinegar? Oh, that's so gross. That must smell disgusting. No, you're wrong. Ouai's signature fragrance made with rose, bergamot, lychee or lychee? Nobody knows. Cedarwood and white musk completely hides the smell. Trust me, this shampoo smells actually delicious. So when you're ready to undo some damage, hit the reset button with the Ouai Detox Shampoo. Go to, and listen to how it's spelled, TheOuai.com and use code Sarah to get 15% off your entire purchase. That's TheOuai.com, code Sarah. Phoria. What? Phoria? People with vulvas get the short end of the stick when it comes to total pleasure and sexual fulfillment sometimes. Sex should be fun and satisfying for both partners. Phoria creates intimacy products that fundamentally change the way you experience pleasure. With all natural botanical formulas that were crafted for women and people with vulvas, Phoria is here to remind you that your body can do amazing things and that you deserve to climax every time, several times. Phoria is here to make sex go from meh to memorable. Best line ever written? Probably not, but it's true. This stuff is real good, and I like that the main ingredient is coconut oil because that shit's great on my vulva. Phoria is offering a special deal for our listeners. Get 20% off your first order by visiting www.phoriawellness.com/Sarah or use code Sarah at checkout. That's FORIA wellness.com/Sarah for 20% off your first order. I recommend trying their Awaken Arousal Oil because, well, orgasms.
And we're back.
So there was a House vote recently on helping to fund Israel's Iron Dome, which is, if you don't know, an air defense system that Israel developed. Basically, it shoots missiles out of the sky so that they don't land and blow people up. It's just defensive. It's not offensive. And it's frustrating because my girls in the squad really didn't want it to be funded. They wanted to defund it. And all the Iron Dome does is protect civilians from getting hit by missiles and bombs. That's all it does. It's not a weapon. If anything, ask for one. Get one over Gaza. Get one everywhere. I would personally like no missiles or bombs to land on anyone. But you're wanting to take away from the thing that protects every citizen of Israel. My niece Hillel said it pretty concise. She said, voting against the Iron Dome defense system is voting for dead Israelis, and that's Muslims, Christians, and Jews alike. That's true. Israeli civilians are Jews and Arabs and Christians, and they are black and brown and white. Sorry to tell you, it's not just dirty Jews you're letting die. It just feels very, the missiles are aimed at citizens. They're not aimed at, artilleries or the Knesset even, which is the Israeli government, which, by the way, is now co-led by an Arab politician. I don't know what this is. We're not allowed to call it anti-Semitism. And, of course, you're allowed to criticize a government. But what do you think might happen if they were to take away the Iron Dome? What do you think might happen if you take away the one thing that protects people from missiles in a place where missiles are constantly flying at you? Right. That's dark. I'm really, really trying to understand it, though. Like, sure, I get wanting to, like, I think AOC is like, could we even just talk about it? And like, yeah, it's definitely something to talk about. I'm not saying like, no, it should just be Iron Dome and, but they need it. None of them talk about Hamas. No one in the squad is bringing up Hamas. I can't, it's so bizarre. Yes, the occupation is not right. There cannot be justice in a place where there are people who have no freedom of movement. But they elected Hamas. Why do none of them even mention Hamas? A group that until just a few years ago had a mission statement that said, kill all Jews. A group that just congratulated the Taliban for taking over Afghanistan. No, Israel is not good for Palestine, but you are kidding yourself if you think Hamas is good for Palestine. The whole thing's just fucking gross. But fuck, it's not simple. Please do not defund the Iron Dome. I know that it's not, but just talking to the squad here, my family lives there. It just seems to prove the point that I didn't think existed, which is people really only like Jews if they're suffering. Dead Jews get a lot of honor. I want to love them. I really do. I love AOC. I love Rashida Tlaib. I love Ilhan Omar. Their domestic policies are completely aligned with mine. And I think they're so cool and kick-ass. But this is really scary. You make it hard. Not having the Iron Dome is going to kill people. A lot of people. You'll finally get that higher body count from Israel. Look, I am for a Palestinian state. I mean, my Twitter location has been the state of Palestine since I signed up for Twitter. But I do also believe there should be in Israel too. There are Muslim states all over the place. We can't have one Jewish state. Can we just make it New Jersey? I feel like that pitch is valid. Look, I'm talking out of my ass, but that was my kind of knee-jerk reaction when I read about the strife in the house.
Here's some ads.
Olive and June. I'll be honest, even before COVID, I did not go to nail salons. I'm not a big nail salon person. Then I discovered Olive and June. Their mani system makes doing your nails at home so easy. I used to attempt to do my own nails, but they look like a 4-year-old did them. Olive and June comes with the Poppy, a brush handle that makes it easy to paint with both of your hands. I'm just like, I trim my nails and that's it. I just let them go. But I got this Olive and June kit. They've got this stuff for your cuticles. I go, what? They're just cuticles. They come right off. It's so satisfying. It's better than earwax. And then you put on just a little shine. I was very proud of myself. The box comes with 6 colors and they range from bright reds to subtle nudes. If you like to get your nails done but want to save money and avoid weekly visits to a nail salon, this is the solution. Getting beautiful salon-perfect nails at home is now achievable with Olive and June. Visit oliveandjune.com/Sarah and use code Sarah for 20% off your first mani system. This is an exclusive offer you can only get here. That is oliveandjune.com/Sarah. Code Sarah for 20% off your first mani system. oliveandjune.com/Sarah. Code Sarah. Chime, baby. What? Overdraft fees have gotten way out of hand. In 2019, traditional banks took $11 billion in overdraft fees. That's insane. This is why I recommend Chime. They do things differently. Chime is an award-winning app and debit card that has saved its members more than $10 billion in overdraft fees with SpotMe fee-free overdraft. Eligible members can overdraft up to $200 on debit card purchases and cash withdrawals with absolutely no fees. You deserve to have financial peace of mind. Join the millions of Americans already loving Chime. Sign up takes only 2 minutes and does not affect your credit score. Get started today at chime.com/Sarah. That's chime.com/Sarah. Banking services provided by and debit card issued by the Bancorp Bank or Stride Bank N.A. members FDIC. SpotMe eligibility requirements apply. Overdraft only applies to debit card purchases and cash withdrawals. Limits start at $20 and may be increased up to $200 by Chime. Chime members overdraft fee savings based on eligible members' use of SpotMe v. $33 average overdraft fee. Overdraft fee data based on bank rate checking account survey and CRL June 2020 overdraft fees report.
And we're back.
All right, let's take calls.
You left me a message. Now I'm playing it for the world. Let's hear some voicemails.
Hi, Sarah. This is Nathaniel calling from Stockholm, Sweden again.
Oh, yeah.
First aid kit's old teacher. I have a 7-part question. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I was thinking about how you talk about being godless sometimes, and I thought it was really interesting. A while back, you gave an explanation of what you meant by that, and it wasn't that you don't necessarily deny the existence of God, but that you just don't feel like God is that present in your life. And it got me thinking, and after Norm Macdonald died and hearing about his faith and whatnot, and even I think Stephen Hawking, before he died, said something, alluded to like maybe there is God and it doesn't necessarily have to contradict science, and you've also alluded to that too. But to make a long story short, I was just thinking, like, I feel like God, or at least the concept of God, has been like hijacked by fundamentalist people. So maybe it's time to hijack God back, or maybe a less harsh word like kidnap or something. But yeah, that was just a thought I wanted to put out there, and thoroughly enjoying the podcast as usual. By the way, I think it's hiya fucker.
Oh, in the open.
Intro.
Fuck. Yeah, that sounds it. Sounds like it. That sounds it, I said. Hi again. I don't remember saying that the way I feel godless is that I don't feel God in my life. I don't remember that. I think for me, it's more that our entire existence and purpose is beyond my comprehension. I think it's beyond human comprehension. And instead of using the idea of God to explain it, I am just more kind of okay with not knowing. Did my voice just get really low? Hey, hi. But what God is to people is just, it's so varied. Why would I ever say to a believer, like, there's no God? Like, what do I give a fuck, Though I do tell them there's no hell because I can't bear people fearing hell. I really can't. But God, the idea of God is just, I think it's mostly perspective. It's not something to really argue for me. I mean, unless it gets in the way of people's rights, which is what we're talking about. The people who we want to hijack the idea of God back from the far right? Yes, I think it feels like God has been hijacked by the far right. Yeah, I agree. So often, by the way, like they in my view, they live their lives in a way that is so surprising given that they believe in heaven and hell. You believe in heaven and hell, you're going to hell. Like dark people in my view. I mean, because they lie and cheat. I mean, that's a bold statement, but what I'm trying to say is that they seem to be very ends justify the means people, you know, like if you've got to lie or do underhanded things to get to what God wants for us, then we should do that, you know. The ends justify the means. Like the means they take would send them straight to fucking hell, in my opinion. Their version of God isn't even merciful. It's like, that Lauren Bobart tweeted the other day about like, I just took Tylenol for a headache and now I need everyone else to take Tylenol for it to, so that it kicks in and works, you know, or whatever. Like it's like, whatever, obviously talking about the vaccine as if it's at all analogous in any way. Also, like, she's a big far right religious person, you know, who claims that part of her, you know, the argument with the vaccine is that they tested on fetal tissue, I guess, which, by the way, I read Tylenol tests did testing on fetal tissue. There's so much hypocrisy and bullshit coming from her ilk. It's just hard to not judge. And yes, of course, believing in God does not mean that you can't believe in science. You know, I always think about that parable, especially with this vaccine shite, you know, the one that's like, I sent a boat, I sent a canoe, I sent a helicopter. Do I need to say the actual parable? You know, it's like these people, there's a flood and they're at the top of their building and a boat comes by and says, come on the boat. And he goes, no, God will save me. And then the helicopter's like, climb up the ladder. And they're like, no, God will save me. And then they drowned. And then they drown. And then I guess God is like, what the, you know, I sent a canoe, I sent a boat, and to me, that's, you know, what the vaccine is. If you believe in God, you go, well, God brought us this vaccine, take it. He's sending help, y'all. But again, I'm godless, so I'm just, what's the word I'm looking for? Pontificating, bullshitting, imagining. This is just conjecture. There you go. That's right, Raj? This is just conjecture, but there you go. All right, what else?
Hey, Sarah, it's Paula from British Columbia calling. I'm a public speaking teacher and I teach kids. And I am trying to use the word folks instead of guys. And it's funny because the show Survivor started up again this week. And Jeff Probst, the host, is kind of famous for a catchphrase that he says, come on in, guys.
Oh, yeah.
And this week on the first episode, he wanted to discuss it with the group. And there are quite a few queer people in the group this time around. And they all decided, after jumping off a barge and swimming to an island, he asked them about this, and they were all like, oh, we're okay with that. A queer woman said, I'm okay with the word guys. A couple of days later, though, a queer man spoke up and he said, you know what, Jeff, I've had time to think about it, and I'm not okay with it. This show has evolved a lot over the years. There are more queer people, more people of color on the show, and I think it's time to retire it. And to his credit, Jeff Probst said, I agree, and I'm not going to say it anymore. So from now on, instead of saying, come on in, guys, he's just going to say, come on in. So there you go. Easy
that was
peasy.
Easy.
Anybody can do it. So great show. I fucking love you so much, and I think you're amazing. Thanks a lot.
I love that. I love it. I love that they showed the discussion. I mean, I just think that kind of stuff is so impactful, especially in like huge shows like that are like on a network that everyone sees, you know. To show that kind of conversation is just a really great model for what can be, you know. And I know people go like, why is it such a big deal? It's not. You're making it a big deal. They made a quick, easy change and had a cool discussion about it. I love that. Come on in. He could say, come on in, everybody. Coming in, friends. I don't know. I think it's fucking cool that they did that too. There have been really popular mainstream shows that help massively with progress. I mean, going back to Ellen when she came out on her show and then just being like, America's sweetheart. Like every like stay-at-home mom or like everyone like my stepmom's age, like that's their Ellen. They love her. And if they can love her, it's just really cool, Or Glee. Glee was just massive. Like probably single-handedly helped a lot of people that would otherwise not be open to LGBTAI++ stuff at all. And it helped kids come out, and it helped closed-minded adults and the kids that they raise embrace it and be changed. It's rad. It's so impactful. I think it's cool. Representation matters, y'all. All right, what else?
Hey, Sarah, I have to give you a huge shout out to both you and Rory for introducing me to the Hanes boxer brief with the total support pouch. Complete game changer. I am a painter by trade, and I can be 30 feet up in the air on an extension ladder, and my balls are still in their couch. It's fantastic.
Wonderful.
I also was curious about your opinion of the term Mr. Mom. I know you're doing some gender experiments, and it's something I've been called before, and for a time I was a single dad, and every time I heard it, I thought to myself, come on, I'm a dad. I'm not playing a parent. I'm an actual parent. Anyway, just curious your thoughts on that. Love the podcast, and again, serious game changer. Thanks. See ya.
If I can make just one man's balls feel high and tight, I've done my job. I'm so happy that, Rory's going to love this. I can't wait to tell him. I saw, he showed me the inside structure and like how it works. And it's like there's almost like a red velvet rope that lifts your balls up into its own section. And it's so great. I mean, I still love them in tighty whities, but that's just my kink. But yeah, they work so well and he loves them. Mr. Mom. Yeah, that phrase definitely does not hold up, Mr. Mom. You're a dad. You're a parent. It isn't just moms that are parents. Yeah, I mean, I love that your reaction is like, what? It's like when dads say, oh, I got to babysit my kids tonight. It's not babysitting if they're your kids. And that's not an original thought. I've seen that written on the internets. But it's so true. It's not babysitting if it's your kids. You are a parent. Anyway, keep being an awesome Mr. Dad. Thanks for calling. What else?
Hi, Sarah. Huge fan calling from Houston, Texas. I am a private event caterer, bartender for this fancy smancy catering company. And something just happened to me a couple of days ago that I know I could use your thoughts on. I was sent to this huge mansion to bartend for this like small private group of about 40 people, all white. A few women in there, but all white and all different age ranges. But it was definitely that kind of waspy, not so progressive crowd. And Houston's super progressive, which is why this crowd was kind of like, interesting for me to witness.
Right.
I soon realized this was a private event as a fundraiser for South Dakota's governor, Kristi Noem, who is very far right and Trump supported. And while she was spewing all these lies about Fauci being a complete liar, AOC being terrible, race theory not belonging in schools, the whole shebang. I am a queer brown immigrant who lives in this country, and I had to fight the urge to not completely just walk out and make a huge scene during this event if it weren't because I really need this money. I am so devastatedly broke from the pandemic. And I'm really struggling with the guilt for not having stood up for my beliefs due to my financial restraints. And so I could use your thoughts on this. Bye.
I know, I'm sure you like left there thinking of all the like things you should have said or what you should have done in that moment, but please forgive yourself, for not like plotting out a whole, hero confrontation that, on and like recorded on your phone or something, hashtag not all heroes shoot video. But I get it. You wish you said something. Oh God, I know that feeling, but keeping a good job is okay to do, and it sounds like you mostly work for really nice people and you like this job and you need this job, and that's okay. You can express yourself and fight the bullshit of the man in your off hours. It's fine. It's freaking great that you're working again. I know COVID was a massive blow to people in the service industry and devastating. And man, you're back at work. Keep that job. I don't think it doesn't sound like it's something where you regularly have to, compromise your values, This was just kind of a one-off thing and it sucks, but do not beat yourself up about it. Sometimes you gotta keep your job. Sometimes you blow shit up. Sometimes you just work and keep your job and pay your bills. But I think you did the right thing and you shouldn't beat yourself up about it. You can express yourself in myriad other ways, and I used that word correctly. What else?
Hey, Sarah. This is Alistair. There's so many things I'd love to talk to you about, including Rory's balls. But the thing I wanted to focus on was
poor Rory's
the
mother.
Call you got last week from the 17-year-old young woman who was feeling heartbroken about some of your material in the Jesus is Magic special from many years ago. And I've wanted to say this, but I don't know. It sounds weird to articulate, but this feels like the right expression. I feel very proud of you for your willingness to embrace change and learning. And there are so many not 17-year-olds in the world who I think misunderstand the idea of political correctness is not about saying the right thing your entire life, because that's not possible. It's about being open to the concept of learning and growing. And I don't think there are many people in public life who model that as well as you do. So thanks for being who you are.
You guys. All right, I'm not going to say anything, but that's so encouraging, and thank you. I really needed that today. All right, what else?
Hey Sarah, it's Vicky from Argentina. I know how much you like international listeners, so hi.
I do.
I know everyone says this, but I have to say it. I love your podcast, and I love how genuine you are, I guess. I don't know if you're actually genuine, but you seem genuine, and that's nice. And I really like how you approach life, trying to learn and trying to be better. And I think we should all do that. And of course, for you, you're in the spotlight. So whenever you make a mistake or something, everyone knows, and it's there forever. So I think it's very brave to still, talk about these issues, and I really appreciate it. I try to do the same in my life. I try to grow and learn. And one thing I would like to see more in the feminist movement, it's the topic of body hair. And yes, of course, I don't shave, and this is why it's very important to me. But I just don't see enough of that, and there's so much judgment still, I think. So much. And I wonder if you could, talk about that. You said you do shave, and that's great. But it would be nice for those of us who don't, to have some support, I guess. Thank you. Bye.
I think I understood that. I think it was a really long, very sweet message that said, I don't shave. Can you illuminate the voice of the unshaven? Yes, I can. I rarely shave these days, to be honest. I've pretty much, every once in a while, I'll have a big shave. But I don't know. When I first hooked up with Rory, I had a really big shave before I saw him because I had been in quarantine for months and did not shave at all. And it was so cool to see the like hair under my arms and the hair on my legs and like how big my bush got. And it was kind of cool. Like I had never let it go. I had never let it gone that long. And boy, that took about 3 razors. But he came over and I told him I shaved for you. And he's like, oh, I can't wait until you're in a place where you're comfortable enough to not shave for me, you know, and we are definitely in the thick of that right now. Pun not intended, but not unwelcome. Yeah, that's all I got. I mean, don't shave. That's cool, man. I think a lot of guys, I don't even know if you're into guys, but a lot of people are into that. I love the like musky, real smell of a man. And a lot of that I think has to do with like how it's trapped in hair. And on that note, Dad, we're winding down. Get ready. This is the time on the show where I say subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you like watching with your stupid fucking eye holes, you can watch on YouTube.
Hey!
Hi.
Hey, ya fucker!
Subscribe here so you don't miss an episode. And you can click here to watch the last episode if you missed it.